I asked an LLM for a program. The whole program, nothing but the program, so help me Claude. And it gave me one. And it ran. And I mean raw machine code. The actual bytes a CPU runs, no compiler in sight. Now, if you know a thing or two about programming and another thing or two about machine learning, then you know this probably shouldn't work. But it actually does. And it's not a parlor trick or studio magic. Let me explain how I pulled it off. Today's AI writes code. You know, C++, Go, or heck, even Rust. But source code isn't a program. Between what you write and what a CPU can actually run sits a whole mess of machinery, like the compiler. You write the code, then hand it to the compiler. That's nice, dear. Here, let me get you the actual program. The model's no different. It writes, but it never creates the final program until now. Recently, Elon Musk floated that by the end of 2026, AI might skip writing code entirely and generate binaries directly. Everyone rolled their eyes. It's a very Musk thing to say after all, but it left me wondering, what if? Is the compiler, a pillar of computing for the better part of a century, actually obsolete? I was determined to find out. Now, dear viewer, I was sure this was a terrible idea. I even built myself a sensible escape hatch, but hold on to that thought for now. The whole way through, one question kept nagging me. Even if it looked like it was working, would the model actually be learning, or would it just be memorizing? Okay, before we move on, I just want to drive a quick point home. That blob of hex, that is the program. The whole executable, elf header, and all. There was no compiler, no agent quietly calling clang behind a curtain while I shouted, "Look, a squirrel." The model generated the entire binary as hex. All we did was decode it back to bytes and let the operating system run it. 1, you need to know what a binary actually is, or well enough to know if I'm full of crap. And 2, you need to believe a language model can learn to produce one. So let's see if I can make a believer out of you just yet.
Well, how hard can that be?
Very hard. Language models are probabilistic. They vibe their way through life one probably right token at a time. You know what's not probabilistic? Binary code. Apparently, mixing up a few bits here and there really does matter. This is all to say getting a program's binary code probably right is not the same as definitely right. And if you want the OS to run your program, you need to get it definitely right. Sorry, no partial credit from the kernel. About that escape hatch I mentioned. Tool calling. Let the model call a deterministic binary builder, a compiler basically, and let that do the hard part. It would have worked, sure. It also would have completely missed the point. Did I throw in the towel? And it gave me one. And it ran. To start, I needed a known good binary to learn from. You guessed it, we need a hello world. I reached for Rust first because, duh, I craved the strength and certainty of the borrow checker. One hello world.rust later, and I had about 400 kilobytes of binary on my hands. 400 kilobytes to print 11 characters. That's courtesy of the Rust standard library, panic handlers, formatters, all very nice, all very useless at the moment. Also, we're looking at the macOS Mach-O binaries, but we'll jump ship to Linux Elf soon enough. So, like everyone else, I came crawling back to C. One hello.c later, I now had about 33 kilobytes on my hands. Better, but my context window for hex is about 8 characters, not 80,000. Can we go lower? You bet. Raw system calls, talking directly to the kernel, no libraries, no nothing. On Linux, beautiful and tiny, and it runs. And on macOS, pain. I tried, I really did, but Tim Apple just won't let us run a bare static binary. You have to point at their dynamic linker, link their libraries, and then sign it just to print some stinky characters. Dropping to handwritten assembly bought me nothing. Same 34,000 bytes, basically the same size as the C version. Now on Linux, we can go further. Strip section headers, the symbols, basically everything not bolted down, and we can get it under 200 bytes. Well, 193 bytes of pure send it to be precise. See, 400 kilobytes is the better part of 1,000,000 hex characters. No model is generating that reliably. 193 bytes? That's about 390 hex characters, give or take. Now we have a shot. Quick pause. This is the spot where I tend to lose people, so stick with me because this whole video falls apart if these points don't land. There are two things people tend to assume here, and both are wrong. First, that's hex, not binary. Hex is just binary with fewer keystrokes. 2 hex characters is 1 byte is 8 bits, ipso facto 7F is 01111111, you get the idea. Second, sure, but that hex isn't the real program. Something turns it into the program later. Nope. Trust me. The real program isn't waiting to pop out of a cake on cue. This is it. When you run it, the CPU reads the exact bytes and does what they say. In fact, that .c file was a courtesy for us, the meatbags. Now watch imhex, color it in. The first 4 bytes, 7F, 45, 4C, 46, that's ELF. The file saying, I'm a Linux executable, pretty please load me. Then program header, directions on how to load it, then the code, write these bytes, and then exit. At the very end, we've got the data. Hello world. In a few minutes, we're going to ask a model to cough one of these up from scratch, so just remember what's being asked in order to get a program right. Before we drag AI into this, let's do the obvious dumb thing first. The binary has fixed boilerplate and variable bytes, the string data, the exit code, and so on. So why not just make it a template? Take the known good blob, knock out the bits that change, and stamp in fresh hex on demand. And it works. Sort of. It only really does one thing, printing to standard out, and it's brittle as, well, it's brittle. So scratch that. Next attempt, a little library that backs bytes from any string and exit code into a working binary on the fly. Let's call it a binary builder. Shame no one's thought of that before. Quick actually disclaimer incoming. This thing only makes programs that print something to standard out and then exits. That's all we're doing today. Not arbitrary software. Turns out I'm not Turing complete. Anyway, remember that escape hatch, the tool I was going to let the model lean on? This is it. But it's about to get a much more interesting job. The thing is, the binaries we're stamping out are nearly identical. Like 90% fixed boilerplate with a few variable bits punched in. It's repetitive and patterned and looks an awful lot like something you could learn. Now there's a sticky problem when training models. How do you grade them? Whether a model writes idiomatic code or has a great personality and likes walks on the beach is subjective. But binary generation? Did it write valid hex? Is it the right platform, right exit code? Correct binary generation is, well, binary. What if instead of having the model call the builder, we use the builder to feed the model? String and exit code in, known good hex out. Want hello world and exit 0? Here it is and a few thousand of its friends. Instant labeled dataset, no typing hundreds of lines of hex by hand. Moving along, let's cover an important concept. Dataset splits. The lazy way to split is by phrasing. Same binaries, different ways of asking for them, like give me hello world, I want hello world please. But that only proves the model can read. So instead, I held out unseen content. Strings and exit codes that appear nowhere in the training set, like please sir print big dingus. If it passes those, it actually built something. Checkmate stochastic parrot enthusiast. Maybe. So then I fine-tuned Gemma 4 E2B on it. The road to a successful crap was a 38.5-hour first run that turned my MacBook into a space heater, a contamination bug, and then a 90-minute redo on a rented 5090. Total damage, $2.50.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
But that's a whole other video. For now, just know eventually it worked. So, did it learn or did it memorize? Both? I think both. On a held out test set, strings and exit codes it had never seen, Crap emits a correct runnable hex binary about 87% of the time, every time. For 2 billion-ish parameter model coughing up raw machine code, I'll take it. I also asked it to print a phrase that appears nowhere in the training data, and it did. To do that, it had to compute the right length, the right offset, the right encoding for a string it had never seen. That's not something you can copy from a memorized example. That, I believe, is some generalization. But it's not all roses. Ask for a long output, or multi-turn back and forth, and it starts fumbling. It might hand you a structurally valid binary that's functionally broken. So maybe it memorized the boilerplate, but only approximates the underlying mechanisms. Here's the same program. Fine-tuned model versus that binary builder diffed byte for byte. 3 things. First, the size fields. The model claims 189 bytes, but the file it generated is only 187. Not to mention the actual version is 188. That's the BD to BC swap. Then the write length, BA08, where it should be BA07. So it writes 8 bytes from a 6-byte string, plus 2 bytes of leftover memory. And last, it dropped the trailing new line. That divergence is more or less where the memorization ends, and the generalization was supposed to begin. So, is the end of compilers near? No. Crap does what a compiler does, but it does it slower, less reliably, and it needs several gigs of weights to do it. Slower, bigger, and wrong. Let me know if you want in on the ground floor of my IPO. But still, it memorized the boilerplate pretty darn solid, and it learned enough to build programs it had never seen, no compiler anywhere in sight. And we didn't even have to wait until the end of 2026. It works, it's useless, it's crap. The #1 binary generation model in the world. Patent pending.